The misunderstood message. The discovery. Dr. Sarah Chen had spent 15 years listening to the universe's whispers, but nothing had prepared her for what she discovered on that cold Tuesday morning at the HFY Deep Space Observatory. The massive radio telescope array, rebuilt and enhanced with quantum receivers, stretched across the Puerto Rican Valley like a technological cathedral reaching toward the stars. Sarah's coffee had grown cold hours ago as she stared at the patterns dancing across her multiple monitors. The signal from the Kepler 442 system wasn't random cosmic noise or a pulsar's regular heartbeat. This was something else entirely, something that made her hands tremble as she reached for her emergency communication device. The mathematical sequence was elegant in its complexity, repeating every 47 minutes with subtle variations that suggested intentional modification. To Sarah's trained eye, it looked exactly like the universal distress protocols that Earth had developed for potential extraterrestrial emergencies. Prime numbers, Fibonacci sequences, and what appeared to be stellar coordinates all woven together in a pattern that screamed for help across the void. Control, this is Observatory 7. Sarah spoke into her headset, her voice steady despite the magnitude of her discovery. I need to speak with Director Hamilton immediately. We have a Code Alpha situation. Within minutes, her small observation chamber filled with personnel. Director James Hamilton, a graying man who had dedicated his life to the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, leaned over Sarah's shoulder as she explained her findings. The signal strength suggests they have significant power behind their transmission, Sarah explained, pointing to the wave patterns on her screen. But more importantly, the mathematical structure is unmistakable. This is a civilization in distress, and they're asking for help. Hamilton's expression grew grave as he studied the data. In the 3 decades since humanity had first begun serious attempts at interstellar communication, they had always wondered what they would do if someone answered. Now it seemed that question was about to be tested. Earth's response. News of the alien distress signal spread through government channels like wildfire. Within hours, emergency sessions were convened in capital cities around the world. The Global Defense Initiative, formed 20 years earlier as humanity's response to potential extraterrestrial threats, found itself facing its first real test. In the gleaming headquarters of the GDI in Geneva, Admiral Marcus Torres stood at attention before the World Security Council. At 58, Torres was humanity's most experienced space commander, having led the colonization efforts to Mars and the asteroid mining operations beyond Jupiter. His weathered face and steel-gray eyes had seen humanity's greatest achievements among the stars. The signal is authentic, Torres reported to the assembled representatives. Our linguists and mathematicians have confirmed that this is indeed a plea for assistance from an intelligent species approximately 1,200 light-years from Earth. The Brazilian representative leaned forward. What kind of assistance could we possibly provide across such a distance? Torres activated the holographic display in the center of the chamber. 3 years ago, our deep space exploratory missions discovered what our physicists believe to be a stable Einstein-Rosen bridge near Neptune's orbit. Our calculations suggest it provides access to a region within 50 light-years of the Kepler 442 system. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. The existence of the wormhole had been classified at the highest levels, known only to a select few within the scientific and military communities. You're suggesting we send ships, stated the Chinese delegate, her voice carefully neutral. I'm suggesting we do what humanity has always done when faced with those in need, Torres replied firmly. We help. The Terran Defense Fleet has 12 vessels capable of interstellar travel. They were built to protect our solar system, but they can serve another purpose today. The Russian representative's voice carried skepticism. And if this distress call is a trap? If we're flying into an ambush? Torres met his gaze steadily. Then we'll show them why humanity has survived every challenge it has ever faced. The fleet is armed with the most advanced weapons our species has ever created. We're prepared for any scenario. After 6 hours of heated debate, The vote was unanimous. Humanity would answer the call. The fleet. The Titan shipyards orbiting Earth buzzed with activity as the Terran Defense Fleet prepared for humanity's first major interstellar mission. 12 vessels of various sizes and capabilities floated in the massive construction base, their hulls gleaming with fresh armor plating and recently installed quantum weapon systems. The flagship, Terra's Pride, dominated the assembly. Nearly 1.5 kilometers in length, the massive vessel housed the fleet's command center, most advanced defensive systems, and the experimental fusion lance, a weapon capable of cracking asteroids in half. Admiral Torres walked its corridors with quiet pride, knowing that this ship represented the pinnacle of human engineering and determination. Captain Elena Rodriguez, Torres's second-in-command, met him in the main hangar bay. At 42, she was one of the youngest officers ever to command a vessel of Terra's Pride size, but her record during the Mars Rebellion had proven her capabilities beyond question. Final crew reports, Admiral Rodriguez said, handing him a tablet. We have 3,847 personnel across all 12 ships. Full Marine contingent, complete scientific staff, and enough supplies for an 18-month deployment. Torres reviewed the numbers with satisfaction. And the weapon systems. All ships report combat readiness. The new quantum torpedoes have been loaded, and the experimental shield harmonics are operational. If we encounter hostiles, we'll be ready. As they spoke, the final preparations continued around them. Marines in powered armor conducted equipment checks. Engineers performed last-minute calibrations on the faster-than-light drives, and medical staff prepared for unknown biological hazards. Dr. Lisa Park, the fleet's chief xenolinguist, approached with her team of specialists. Admiral, we've prepared first contact protocols for 17 different communication scenarios. If this species is truly in distress, we should be able to establish basic communication within hours of arrival. Torres nodded approvingly. At 35, Dr. Park was considered one of Earth's leading experts in theoretical alien communication, despite having never encountered an actual alien. Her linguistic models have been tested against every form of Earth-based communication, from dolphin songs to computer code. What's your assessment of the situation, Doctor? Torres asked. The mathematical distress pattern suggests a highly advanced civilization, Park replied, consulting her notes. They understand complex mathematical relationships and have the technological capability for interstellar communication. However, the fact that they're asking for help suggests they're facing something beyond their ability to handle alone. The Zaphirian perspective. 1,200 light-years away, on the third planet of the Kepler 442 system, a very different scene was taking place. The world the humans called Kepler 442 bits was home to the Zaphirians, a species of tall, graceful beings whose crystalline cities rose like musical instruments from the surface of their ocean world. Elder scientist HFY floated in the central chamber of the great observatory, his elongated form perfectly adapted to his species' aquatic environment. His gill slits fluttered with excitement as he reviewed the results of their latest transmission test. Around him, younger scientists moved with fluid grace through the water-filled spaces, their movements creating barely perceptible currents in the carefully maintained environment. The deep space transmission array exceeded all performance expectations, reported his assistant, Velterra, her bioluminescent markings pulsing with enthusiasm. The mathematical greeting sequence was broadcast successfully across a range of 2,000 light-years. HFY's tentacle-like appendages swayed with pleasure. For 3 centuries, the Zaphirians had been trying to establish contact with other intelligent species. Their mathematical greeting, based on universal constants and harmonic principles that any advanced civilization should recognize, represented the culmination of their efforts. Did we receive any responses? HFY asked, though he knew it was too soon to expect an answer. Even at the speed of light, signals took time to cross the vast distances between stars. Not yet, Elder, but our calculations suggest that if there are listening stations within our transmission range, we should begin receiving acknowledgments within the next several cycles. The Zaphirians were a peaceful species, their entire civilization built around the principles of harmony and understanding. They had never known war among their own kind, and their exploration of space was driven purely by curiosity and the desire for knowledge. The concept that their mathematical greeting might be misinterpreted as a call for help was completely foreign to their way of thinking. In their excitement over the successful transmission, none of the Zaphirian scientists noticed the subtle energy signatures beginning to appear at the edge of their solar system. Objects moving faster than light, following trajectories that would bring them to Zaphiria in less than 60 standard cycles. The journey begins. The launch of humanity's first interstellar fleet was witnessed by billions around Earth. Every major news network carried live coverage as the 12 vessels departed their orbital positions and began their journey toward Neptune and the mysterious wormhole that would carry them across the galaxy. Admiral Torres stood on the bridge of Terra's Pride, watching as Earth grew smaller in the viewports. The weight of command had never felt heavier. He was leading humanity's children into the unknown, responding to a cry for help from beings they had never met, carrying weapons that could devastate worlds. All ships report successful launch and formation maintenance, Captain Rodriguez announced from her position at the tactical console. Estimated arrival at the Neptune wormhole in 47 hours. Torres nodded, his gaze fixed on the stars ahead. Maintain standard formation. All department heads, I want status reports every 6 hours. This is what we trained for, people. Let's show the universe what humanity is capable of. As the fleet accelerated toward the edge of the solar system, scientists aboard the research vessel Newton continued analyzing the alien signal, looking for any additional clues about what they might face. The medical staff prepared for the possibility of treating unknown alien physiology, while the Marine contingent ran combat simulations designed for fighting in unfamiliar environments. Captain James Morrison of the heavy cruiser Defiance ran his crew through weapon drills, knowing that if the distress call was genuine, they might face whatever threat had overwhelmed an entire alien civilization. His ship, armed with fusion missiles and particle beam arrays, represented humanity's determination to never again be caught defenseless. The quantum engineers aboard the science vessel Discovery worked frantically to understand the wormhole technology it would soon traverse. The Einstein-Rosen bridge had been studied for 3 years, but actually traveling through it with a full battle fleet was unprecedented. Preparing for the unknown. As the fleet approached Neptune's orbit, the tension aboard every ship reached a crescendo. The wormhole appeared on their sensors as a shimmering distortion in space, barely visible except for the way it bent light around its edges. Preliminary probes had confirmed it was stable and navigable, but sending an entire fleet through was a leap of faith that would either make history or end it. All ships, this is Admiral Torres. His voice carried across the fleet's communication network. In 6 hours, we will make the first human transit through an Einstein-Rosen bridge. We go to answer a call for help from beings we've never met, to face dangers we can't imagine. But we go as humanity always has, together and determined to do what's right. In the depths of space, the fleet formed up for transit. Terra's Pride would lead, followed by the cruisers Defiance and Liberty, then the support vessels and research ships. Each captain ran final checks on their systems, knowing that once they entered the wormhole, they would be committed to whatever lay on the other side. Dr. Park reviewed her communication protocols one final time, preparing for the moment when humanity would speak to an alien intelligence for the first time. The linguist teams had loaded every possible translation matrix into their computers, ready to decode whatever responses they might receive. The Marines checked their weapons and armor, preparing for the possibility that they might have to fight enemies beyond human imagination. The medical staff readied their facilities for casualties they couldn't predict, while the engineers ensured that every system was operating at peak efficiency. As the countdown to transit began, Admiral Torres felt the weight of history pressing down on him. In a few hours, They would emerge in an alien solar system, representatives of Earth answering a call for help. Whatever they found there would determine not just the fate of an unknown alien species, but possibly the future of humanity itself. The fleet moved forward into the swirling vortex of the wormhole, carrying with it the hopes and determination of an entire world. Behind them, Earth waited for news of their first contact with another intelligent species. Ahead lay the unknown, and whatever challenges awaited them there. The signal that had started it all continued broadcasting from the Zaphirian system, a mathematical greeting that would soon bring two civilizations together in ways neither could have imagined. The stage was set for an encounter that would change both species forever and determine whether the universe was big enough for both human determination and alien wisdom to coexist. When worlds collide, arrival in alien space, the emergence from the wormhole was unlike anything the human fleet had ever experienced. Space itself seemed to ripple around Terra's pride as the massive flagship broke through the dimensional barrier, followed in quick succession by the 11 other vessels of humanity's first interstellar expedition. The stars that greeted them formed completely unfamiliar patterns, and in the distance, a yellow star much like Earth's sun beckoned with the promise of answers. Admiral Torres gripped the armrests of his command chair as the ship's systems recalibrated to their new environment. "All ships report status," he commanded, his voice cutting through the bridge chatter. "Fleet integrity maintained," Captain Rodriguez announced from her station. "All vessels accounted for and operational. We are approximately 47 light-years from our previous position." The main view screen displayed the Kepler 442 system in all its alien glory. 7 planets orbited the central star, with the third world glowing blue-green against the cosmic backdrop. Even from this distance, their sensors could detect signs of civilization, massive structures that rose from ocean surfaces, like crystalline mountains reaching toward space. "My God," whispered Dr. Park from her communication station. "Look at those energy readings. Their cities are generating power signatures unlike anything we've ever seen." Torres studied the tactical display with growing concern. What appeared to be defensive installations surrounded the alien world, though their configuration was unlike any human military doctrine. Geometric patterns of what looked like weapons platforms floated in perfect formation around the planet's equator. "Captain Morrison." Torres spoke into his communication array, addressing the commander of the heavy cruiser Defiance. "What's your tactical assessment?" Morrison's voice crackled back over the channel. "Admiral, I'm seeing what appears to be a massive defensive grid. Those installations could be weapons, though their energy signatures don't match anything in our database. If they wanted to keep us out, they're certainly equipped to try." The fleet moved deeper into the system, maintaining defensive formation while their sensors gathered intelligence on the alien civilization. What they discovered defied every expectation they had formed during the long journey from Earth. The Zaphirian Welcome. On the surface of their ocean world, the Zaphirians had detected the arrival of the human fleet with a mixture of excitement and bewilderment. Elder scientist Kixhai floated in the emergency council chamber, surrounded by the greatest minds of his civilization as they struggled to understand what was happening. 12 vessels of unknown configuration have emerged at the edge of our system, reported Defense Coordinator Nixdal, her bioluminescent patterns flickering with anxiety. They are maintaining what appears to be an aggressive formation and approaching at significant velocity. Kixai's tentacles swayed with confusion. The concept of aggressive formations was foreign to Zaphirian thinking, as their species had never developed military tactics or warfare. To them, the human fleet's defensive positioning looked like an elaborate dance, perhaps some form of cultural expression. "Have they responded to our greeting transmissions?" Kixai asked hopefully. "Negative, Elder. They appear to be scanning our installations extensively, but they have not acknowledged our mathematical welcome sequences." The chamber filled with the harmonic sounds of Zaphirian discussion as the council tried to comprehend the situation. Their orbital installations, designed for scientific research and communication enhancement, were apparently being interpreted as something threatening by their visitors. Prepare the cultural exchange protocols, Kixai decided. If they have traveled so far to visit us, we must ensure they receive proper hospitality. Send our finest artistic transmissions and activate the ceremonial light displays. What the humans would soon interpret as potential weapon systems powering up were actually preparations for the most elaborate welcome celebration in Zaphirian history. Misunderstanding deepens. Aboard Terra's Pride, alarm klaxons began sounding as the ship's tactical systems detected energy spikes throughout the alien defensive grid. Captain Rodriguez's voice cut through the bridge noise with military precision. "Admiral, the alien installations are powering up. Energy levels increasing across all platforms. They're preparing for something." Torres felt his jaw tighten as he processed the information. The distress signal had brought them across the galaxy to help a civilization in crisis, but instead they had found what appeared to be a heavily defended world preparing for battle. "All ships, raise shields and prepare weapons," Torres commanded. "We came here to help, but I won't sacrifice this fleet to alien treachery." Dr. Park looked up from her communication console with growing alarm. "Admiral, I'm receiving multiple transmissions from the planet. They appear to be cultural in nature, possibly artistic works or ceremonial greetings. Or intelligence gathering," interrupted Captain Morrison over the communication channel. "Sir, Defiance is detecting massive energy buildups in those orbital platforms. Whatever they're preparing to do, they're putting serious power behind it." The human fleet spread into full combat formation as they approached the alien world. The 12 ships, bristling with quantum weapons and shielded by humanity's most advanced defensive technology, presented an intimidating sight against the backdrop of space. Torres studied the tactical display with the eyes of a career military officer. Every instinct told him they were flying into a trap, but the memory of that desperate mathematical distress call kept him moving forward. Somewhere on that beautiful blue-green world, people were in danger and counting on humanity for salvation. The real signal. Dr. Lisa Park had been humanity's leading expert in theoretical alien communication for over a decade, but nothing in her training had prepared her for the complexity of what she was now experiencing. As the fleet drew closer to the alien world, the transmissions she was receiving became increasingly sophisticated and unmistakably peaceful in nature. "Admiral," she called out, her voice cutting through the tactical chatter on the bridge. "I need to speak with you privately. It's urgent." Torres glanced at the main tactical display one more time before stepping into the small conference room adjacent to the bridge. Dr. Park followed, her expression troubled and uncertain. "What is it, Doctor? We don't have much time before we're in weapons range of those platforms." Park activated her portable display unit, showing the mathematical patterns they had first detected over a year ago. "Sir, I've been running continuous analysis on all transmissions from this system, both the original signal that brought us here and everything we've received since arrival. And the original signal wasn't a distress call." Park's words hung in the air like a physical weight. "It was a greeting, Admiral. A sophisticated mathematical introduction designed to establish communication with other intelligent species." Torres stared at the data streams flowing across Park's display. "That's impossible. Our best analysts confirmed it was a distress pattern." "We interpreted it as a distress pattern because that's what we expected to find," Park explained urgently. "The mathematical sequences are actually based on harmonic principles and artistic ratios. These aren't people asking for help, Admiral. They're trying to welcome us." The implications hit Torres like a physical blow. He had brought humanity's most powerful military fleet across the galaxy in response to what he believed was a cry for help, and instead they had encountered a peaceful civilization trying to make friends. "The defensive installations," Torres said slowly. "What are they really?" "Based on the energy signatures and transmission patterns, I believe they're scientific research stations and communication arrays. What we interpreted as weapons might actually be devices designed to enhance cultural exchange." Torres closed his eyes, feeling the weight of potential catastrophe settling on his shoulders. "How certain are you, Doctor?" "97%, sir. These beings appear to be completely peaceful. There's no evidence of military technology anywhere in their system." Crisis point. The Admiral rushed back to the bridge just as Captain Morrison's voice crackled over the communication array with deadly urgency. "Admiral, the alien platforms are reaching critical energy levels. I'm detecting what appears to be targeting systems locking onto our formation. Request permission to engage." Torres grabbed his communication device. "All ships, hold fire. Repeat, do not engage the alien installations." "Sir." Rodriguez looked up from her station with surprise. "The tactical readings clearly show." "The tactical readings are wrong," Torres interrupted. "Dr. Park, explain to the fleet what you just told me." Park's voice carried across the fleet communication network as she rapidly explained her analysis of the alien transmissions. The reaction was immediate and divided. Some captains expressed relief, while others remained skeptical of the sudden change in assessment. Captain Morrison's voice carried clear frustration. "Admiral, with respect, we can't risk the entire fleet on a linguistic interpretation. Those energy readings are real." As if summoned by the tension, the alien installations began their activation sequence. Brilliant lights erupted across the orbital platforms, creating a spectacular display that lit up the space around the planet. Harmonic energy patterns flowed between the structures, forming geometric designs of breathtaking beauty. On the human ships, tactical officers watched in amazement as their weapon detection systems failed to identify any projectiles or energy beams directed at their fleet. Instead, they were witnessing what appeared to be the most elaborate fireworks display in galactic history. "Stand down from combat alert," Torres commanded, his voice carrying across the fleet. "All ships maintain current positions but lower shields. We're not under attack, people. We're being welcomed." First contact protocol. The transformation in the fleet's atmosphere was immediate and dramatic. Marines who had been preparing for alien combat found themselves witnesses to humanity's first peaceful contact with another intelligent species. Scientists who had spent months preparing for the possibility of treating alien weapons injuries instead found themselves documenting the most significant moment in human history. Dr. Park worked frantically at her communication station, preparing humanity's response to the Zaphirian Welcome. The cultural exchange protocols she had developed were designed for this exact scenario, though she had never imagined they would be needed under such tense circumstances. "Admiral, I'm prepared to send our standard first contact greeting," Park announced. "Mathematical sequences showing our understanding of universal constants, followed by basic representations of human physiology and our peaceful intentions." Torres nodded his approval. "Send it, Doctor. Let's show them that humanity knows how to make friends as well as we know how to fight." The transmission went out across space, carrying with it humanity's first words to an alien civilization. The response came back within minutes, a flood of mathematical harmony and artistic expression that brought tears to the eyes of everyone on the bridge. On the surface of the Zaphirian world, elder scientist HFY floated in pure joy as he received confirmation that their visitors had understood their welcome. The mathematical greeting that came back was crude by Zaphirian standards, but it carried an unmistakable message of peaceful intent and curiosity. "They have traveled so far to meet us," HFY told his assembled council. "Prepare the formal welcome protocols. Today, we are no longer alone in the universe. The real threat emerges." Just as the two civilizations began establishing meaningful communication, the deep space sensors aboard Terra's Pride detected something that changed everything. Captain Rodriguez's voice cut through the celebration with sharp alarm. "Admiral, we have multiple contacts emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the system. Configuration unknown, but they're big." The main view screen shifted to show the new arrivals, and what the humans saw chilled them to their cores. 12 massive vessels, each larger than Terra's Pride, hung in space like predatory beasts. Their hulls were dark and angular, designed for intimidation and destruction. "My God," whispered one of the bridge officers. "What are those things?" Dr. Park's communication array suddenly exploded with frantic transmissions from the Zaphirian surface. The harmonic, peaceful patterns were replaced by chaotic mathematical sequences that clearly conveyed terror and desperation. "Admiral," Park announced, her voice tight with urgency, "I'm receiving what can only be described as genuine distress calls from the planet. They're afraid of those new ships." Torres studied the tactical display as the alien vessels began moving into the system with obvious hostile intent. "Captain Morrison, what's your analysis?" "These new contacts are definitely military, Admiral. Heavy armor, massive weapon signatures, and they're moving in attack formation toward the planet." Elder scientist Kix Hayes' voice reached the human fleet through the communication array, his words translated by the linguistic computers into broken but understandable English. "Please, help us. The Void Hunters have found us. We have no defenses against their kind." Torres felt everything click into place. The original signal they had detected hadn't been a distress call, but these new arrivals explained everything. Somehow, the peaceful Zaphirians had known that danger was coming, and their mathematical greeting had been humanity's first warning of a threat that endangered both civilizations. Unity against the darkness. The transformation of the human fleet from confused visitors to determined defenders took less than 5 minutes. Admiral Torres's voice carried across all 12 ships with the authority of a man who had found his purpose. "All ships, combat formation Alpha 7. We didn't come this far to watch a peaceful civilization get destroyed by space pirates. Captain Morrison, prepare the fusion lance for maximum yield." The Terran Defense Fleet spread into battle formation between the Zaphirian world and the approaching Void Hunter ships. What had begun as a rescue mission based on a misunderstood signal had become humanity's first interstellar war. Dr. Park worked frantically to establish tactical communication with the Zaphirians, knowing that coordination between the two species might be their only hope for survival. The mathematical patterns flowing between Earth's ships and the alien world grew increasingly complex as both civilizations shared everything they knew about their common enemy. "Admiral," Park announced, "the Zaphirians are transmitting technical specifications for their energy systems. If we can integrate their harmonic technology with our quantum weapons, we might be able to significantly increase our firepower." The Void Hunter fleet reached weapons range and opened fire without warning or communication. Dark energy beams lashed out across space, striking the Zaphirian orbital installations and causing massive explosions that lit up the planet's atmosphere. "All ships, engage," Torres commanded, and the combined fury of human ingenuity and determination erupted across the alien solar system. Terra's Pride led the charge, her fusion lance carving through the lead Void Hunter ship like a sword through darkness. The other human vessels followed, their quantum torpedoes and particle beams, joined by the harmonic energy weapons that the Zaphirians had managed to adapt for their new allies. The battle raged for 6 hours, pitting humanity's warrior spirit against an enemy that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries. When the final Void Hunter ship exploded in a brilliant flash of released energy, both civilizations knew that something fundamental had changed in the universe. Humanity had found its place among the stars not as conquerors, but as protectors. The signal that had brought them across the galaxy had been misunderstood, but it had led them to exactly where they needed to be. The friendship forged in battle between humans and Zaphirians would become the foundation for an alliance that would reshape the galaxy. As Admiral Torres looked out at the peaceful blue-green world they had helped save, he knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity had proven itself to the universe, and the universe would never be the same.